look at this. My friends are here. Hi, everybody. I'm Johnny Scoville, and this is Chase the Heat. Lisa Trimble. Look at that. Hi, Lisa. Hello, Roger. Good to see you. Arwa, Dale, Brock Bandy. Where's Brock Bandy? I could have sworn I just saw him. I know I did. There's Brock. Herge is here. Hey, I appreciate you guys being here. Please do me a favor, if you don't mind. Hi, Archie's mom. Good to see you. The one and only Krista Melinda. Good to see you. You know what? I'm not prepared. Tommy. Yes. Give me a tissue. I might need to blow my nose at some point. Can you bring me a tissue to blow my nose, please, at some point? I got the AC's been going all day. Tends to get to me. Jane. There's Jane Aldrich. Where did she go? There's Jane. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Jeremy Fowler. Good to see you. Tim D. Hey, Johnny, thank you. Hey, Johnny, nice to see you. My good sir, let the truth flow. I'm going to do that. All right, so here's the deal. Here's the deal. I'm a big fan of Here's the Deal for a long time. Gornash, John, good to see you. Josh Cohen, good to see you, man. There's Renee. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. And Jacob Deathridge. I say that. He grows peppers. His name is Deathridge. Had to happen. Thunderbird, good to see you. Hi, Barbara. All right. So please, everybody, hit the like. I'm going to try to keep my composure tonight. Thunderbird, good to see you. I'm going to try not to offend. I may not try to offend. I can't back that up. Here's the thing. I'm gonna, I don't really care who I offend. I'm speaking the truth. So I got some emails. Now, the people that emailed me, I told them to tune in tonight because I'm going to debunk some junk. Hello, Disclosure. Aaron Giorno. Susie, good to see you. All right. So, I have some notes here. Okay, so let me share with you one of the emails. There were three different emails. I may not get to all of them. I did, Dale. Sorry, I'm a little bit behind, but I will. It was the songs from the band you were talking about. I appreciate that. I just haven't had a chance to actually look into it yet. Gornash says, people get offended out of air. Here's what happens. Just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right. And everything I'm going to give you now are facts. Fish, the band, the chili head. Atta boy. That's Barella. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chase Heat. That's Barella right there. Learned that last night. Didn't know who Fish Abrego was. Now I know. Now I know. A little Queen there for you. All right. So here's the deal. If I offend you, I'm sorry. This is what's going on. First of all, everybody listen to me right now. Charlie Kirk was not a fascist. He's not. I'm tired of hearing that. I've been called a fascist. I'm not either. Steve Christians, good to see you. Glad you're here. I'm going to give you a couple points, things that, without a doubt, prove that he's not, and I don't want to hear it again. First of all, he has publicly condemned white supremacy. In 2017, Charlie said, good to see you, Chris, the Grumpy Gill. White supremacy is evil. The KKK is evil. Racism is evil. And I will denounce it every single time. And that's on X, 2017. So he's been saying this for a hot minute. Yet, I'm saying you because I assume these knuckleheads who emailed me, it's not to the people in the chat, you wonderful people in the chat. It's the lurkers that have emailed me. So don't take this the wrong way, the ones who are here for the right reasons. You're wrong. Tired of hearing it. He has affirmed that no racial group is superior to another. Guys hear that? And that's consistent with what? The yardstick he does everything with. And what is that yardstick? His belief in Christ. He said there is no place in the conservative movement for racial supremacy of any kind. We believe in individual responsibility, not racial identity. Charlie Kirk, his words. Stop telling me he's a fascist. It pisses me off. Ugh. Promotion of diversity and conservative leadership. Listen to this. Charlie Kirk co-founded and elevated diverse voices within Turning Point USA and its affiliate programs. He also has constant active, not anymore, but constant platforming of minorities within his organization contradicts the idea of racial prejudice. Charlie Kirk said, listen up, you lurkers that sent me the crappy emails. We do not believe skin color defines someone's destiny. We believe in equal opportunity, not equal outcomes. That offend you? That piss you off? And he's always used his biblical message of unity over diversity. He's constantly argued that identity politics, especially race-based politics like DEI and all that other crap, is divisive and contrary to biblical unity. He opposes movements like CRT, critical race theory, not because he ignores racial injustice, because CRT divides people by race. I want to tell you something. I had a friend, one of my best friends when I was in high school. I played tennis with him constantly. Great guy. He left the high school I was in and went to a private school. And his grades were astonishing. He was just a brilliant dude, and he worked really hard. He wasn't just brilliant, but he worked really hard. He applied to Dartmouth. The first year he applied, and they told him he did not get accepted. And say what you want, you can hate me for it. Several Asian students who had lower scores were accepted into the college. The following year he applied, was accepted. Now he owns his own medical practice. But there it is. Kirk promoted colorblind justice, meaning judge each person by their actions, not by their skin color. Who said that, huh? Martin Luther King said that. Racism says your skin color matters more than your soul. Christianity teaches the opposite. Guess who said that? Charlie Kirk said that. If one really listens to him, Charlie Kirk is better informed on critical race theory than most who support it, at least its roots and how it's implemented. Krista Melinda, far wiser than I. They listen. So he's not a fascist. That's absurd. I got another one that was unbelievable, and this one said that Bruce Cook, good to see you, man. Look at that. Charlie Kirk spoke the truth, and the truth doesn't care about your feelings. Just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right. Do you understand that most of the people that send me these emails with the things, the little sound bites and things missing off the beginning and missing on the end, they're pissed off. They're offended. And in today's environment, when you're offended, you're right. You're not. Unbelievable. So I got an email saying that Charlie Kirk was trying to undermine and destroy America by saying that college was a scam. Have you guys heard about that? Put a deuce in the chat if you've heard about that. Charlie saying that college is a scam. I was talking today. Tell me about it. I have a different perspective and a different take. Look at this. You guys have heard that. Can I tell you my take on college? It's a scam. But I have a unique Psalm 118:28. Good to see you, man. I have a different take on it because of a job that I had. For a number of years, I worked in an organization. I'll just tell you what it is. I don't care. In Boston. It was called CCA. I don't recall what it stood for. You know what we did at this company? I was a government employee for a while. Contracted. I worked on a company that chased down and collected defunct student loans. What we did 99% of the time is we just rehabbed their loans, right? So somebody owed a ton of money on loans and they blew it off and I tracked them down. The first 2 weeks that I worked at this company, they didn't tell us anything about how to talk to people on the phone once you get them on the phone. Pretty good on the phone as it is, but they didn't talk about that at all. You know what they taught us the first 2 weeks of this business? They taught me how to skip trace, find people. Crazy enough, people that owe a ton of money, they don't like being found. Bruce Cook says he was supremely misrepresented by those who didn't like him. They were offended. They thought they were right. He was strawmanned like no other. His videos cherry-picked and misinterpreted. That's what they do over and over and over again. Tim D says that Charlie Kirk was a great man. He didn't deserve what that coward did to him. He was a father, husband, and a fellow human being. And I will spend eternity with that man. Can you imagine if this would happen to someone else, someone on the left? Imagine that. Let me tell you something. I got an email. If you didn't watch it today, I got an email from somebody who told me they hated me, told me that my family should be going through the same thing that the Kirk family is going through right now. Said if I ever come back to America, if he didn't find me, somebody else would. Pretty funny. So this company taught me how to skip trace using, a lot of cool ways to find people. And I was good at it. Let me tell you how good at it was. Before I found a guy living in China. His name was Robert Jones. Do you have any idea how many Robert Jones there are out there? Green man, good to see you. Yeah, you're wrong. He was a wicked civil rights leader. Wrong. You need to educate yourself. I'm sorry, I'm not going to hold back. And if you put something in the chat and it's wrong, I'm going to call you out on it. Well, have you ever watched a video of his? Get a grip. Did you hear what I just said?
There are people who conflate who he is and the life he lived or whatever. He was a great civil rights. He was the civil rights.
Good point. Nobody could debate him, and he was a Christian. He's a martyr. That's why they offed him. Nocturnal RS, good to see you. Matthew Bory, good to see you. Skip tracing. It's been a while, says John. So he was Robert Jones. This guy, let me tell you about this guy, Robert Jones. He went to school for psychology, to be a psychologist. He had a degree, a BS. He had a master's, and he had two masters. I know he had two PhDs. You know what? I don't have much. My patience is thin. If you ever want to chat in this place again, Green Man, you can email me and plead your case. Somehow I don't think you'll do it. Yep, absolutely. Anyway, this guy was he was in China, and it's funny. I had to go in at a weird hour because it wasn't during the hours that the company was open. You know how I got into when we got at the office every day? They took our handprint on a scanner. And when we came in, there were a bunch of people that worked in the building that just did different things. I was on a government, they were contracting us to find money that were skipped on student loans. I put my hand over this scanner and say, hello, and it would open the door. It was crazy. Anyway, I called my boss. I said, I need to go tonight and get this guy found, Robert Jones. He goes, because he was a big one. He owed a lot of money. He was in China teaching English as a second language. You know how much he owed? Can you kick that AC on, dude? It's getting a little warm in here. This guy owned close to $400,000 on student loans. He just wasn't going to pay. It's funny. When we call, we'd say, hey, Robert, my name is Johnny. I'm calling you to collect I'm calling from CCA to collect the debt. And any information I get on this phone call is going to be used to collect that debt. Savvy? Now I would say to him, look, here's the deal, man. You're stuck between a rock and a hard place. The rock is $380,000 and the hard place is the government, and they ain't budging. So what we can do is we can upend your life and just really destroy you, or we can rehab this loan. I'll wipe away all the penalty and interest, and we'll rehab it. We'll start a new payment. It'll be much smaller than what you were dealing with. He had his father was in China with him. He was crying on the phone. He had his dad pick up on the extension. He was crying on the phone while he was talking to me. Now, the reason I bring this up, what percentage, let's take a guess. Now, I'm telling you, this is, I swear to you, this is what we found. I Googled this, and the numbers, it's biased. When I worked there, now granted, it was a while back, what percentage of people do you think that I found were working in their field of study? Now, I mean, most of them weren't like $3,000 here, $4,000 there. These were substantial debt. A lot of them were master's degrees. A lot of them were master's. You know what BS, MS, and PhD stands for? Oh, should I do it?
I'll do it.
Earmuffs. If you've got kids, earmuff it. It's bullshit, more shit, and piled hip deep. That's what BS. That's what it stands for. Josh says 5%. That's a pretty good guess. Random voice, what he is, here's the problem, random voice. When he was killed, you know what happened? A lot of people sat around silently. I'm one of them. And what happened, random voice, when they killed him, you know what happened? Tons of Charlie Kirks sprung up out of nowhere. And all of a sudden, it's like, holy crap, he wasn't lunatic fringe. You're lunatic fringe if you believe that. You are. Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever seen somebody beat him in a debate. I've only seen him raise his voice 1 or 2 times ever. But you're a jackass, Rat. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say that. Forgive me. That's a stupid comment you made. This one right here. Dumb comment, random voice. Dumb comment. I gave a stat. Let me show you a stat that I showed just the other day. You think look at this stat. This is violence from the different parties. Now, granted, it's only from 2023. Random voice. Are you paying attention, you clown? 21,765 incidents of political violence in 2023 by the Democrats, compared to, wow, look at that, 858 from the Republican. Don't tell me who's violent and who don't. I don't want to hear that. Miss me with that crap. Miss me with that. It's absurd. Stupid thing to say. Ah, here we go. Tommy says, the random voice. I think what happened is people got sick and tired of keeping their mouths shut about all the stupid. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. But if you think for a second that, oh my God. You know what I've learned? I don't care who this pisses off. Every time the left accuses the right of something, trust and believe that's what they're doing. Every time in politics. How many times have you seen it? That's what happens. All right. So we had a guess of 5% from Josh, my friend Josh. You know what, Barbara? I love Barbara. Barbara says the worst I could ever say about Charlie Kirk was that he could be overbearing on occasion. He had way more patience with incoherence than I did. He was overbearing because when people would say something, he would call them on it. That's what he would do, and people didn't have a response. Studio was a Republican Party propaganda opportunity. You know what it was? It was an awakening. It was an awakening. And you're one of them. You're one on the left. Let me tell you something. I had a conversation with a friend of mine. I'm not a big fan of radical Islamic crazy people, the ones that put vests on and do one of these things in a marketplace. You know where every one of them came from? And boy, I'm going to get hated for this. This is going to be demonetized so quickly. Every single one of them that strapped a vest on, went into a marketplace and did this was once just a Muslim, but they got radicalized and went that way. Every left, like you, I have a funny feeling, I could be wrong, but I think you probably are, started out as a Democrat and did the same thing. So I'm not a big fan. I'm sorry if this bums you out. I'm not a big fan of Democrats because that's where you're all headed. And I think you're ruining the country. Pissed off or what? Did you see the thumbnail? Time to lose some more subs. Tommy and I have a bet. I'm kind of in the lead right now, I think. The problem is before Charlie Kirk's murder, if you disagree with anybody, you were called a racist, a bigot, a homophobic. People have gotten tired of being called racist and homophobic. I'm one of those. You guys, do I appear to you like I'm a racist? I don't think so. I'm really not. All right, so John says at 5%. All right, so here's the actual number. It wasn't, I didn't have a specific number like 7% or anything, but this was the truth. Less than 10% of the people we contacted were working their field of study. What that means is people are racking up massive debt and they get out of school and what do? They can't find a job. Most of them are in, listen, if you're in like, lawyer, doctor, skilled degrees like that, it's going to be a different story. But my degree was in college? Political science. You know why I was a political science major? Anybody can guess? Because it interfered with my partying the least. It was the easiest to get through. I could loaf through it. Useless degree. Useless. That's why college is a scam. I would say that probably 70, it's a guess. Hate me for it if you want. I bet you that 70% of the people that are in college are going to walk out with a degree that they're not going to be able to do a damn thing with. So yeah, I think it's a scam. And you know what else it does? It disheartens so many people And they have a sour opinion on the country. That's what happens. That's what I believe. Kristen says, even as someone who went for a master's degree, always know why you're going to college for and what you're going for, what you hope to do with it. It's important. Yep, I agree with that. So anyway, that's the problem. I think I told them, you know what? If my kids were little today, you know what I'd say? Be a plumber, be an electrician, do something like that. Because those are in need badly. You can do a 2-year degree, and you'll be hired like that quickly. You're right, Barbara. There are a lot of jobs requiring advanced degrees that don't pay enough to warrant it. You have to do the math before you commit. But who's doing that? I was a kid. Math? You know what? I wasn't doing math. Tommy says, Kristen, I think the problem is that even taking your degree, you were probably forced to take subjects that you have absolutely no interest in, and you had to pay for them that weren't applicable to your field of study. How is that not a scam? You should be able to say, I only want these courses because these are the courses I'm going to need, but they force you to take all these electives. I've been there. I took music appreciation. The final exam was they play a 10-second piece or 5-second piece from a song. I had to say who wrote it, what year it was, what was the name of the piece. Really paid off. Helped me a lot. My student loans are paid for, though. So I'm telling you, I believe that for most of the people that go to college, they were scammed. I worked that job for 2 years, and I called people over and over again. It was astonishing to find somebody that was actually working in their field. It was unbelievable. Jay Money hits the nail on the head. They can't agree to disagree and have a real discussion. They have to resort to petty name calling. Yeah, I was called a Nazi this morning, a fascist. Bill Maher, I've said this before, and I'm sorry if I sound like somebody who just repeats himself, but Bill Maher was talking with Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins, and they were talking about the left and the right. Bill Maher said that he had Charlie Kirk on his show, and he goes, I really like the man. He's a good man. He's a good family man. He's good. He was able to discuss things intelligently. He said he was able to talk. And he said, and this is what Bill Maher said, the problem with the left is they won't talk to you. They even say, I don't want to talk to you. I'm not going to listen to you. You wouldn't believe all the ones I get. When I send them back proof of the debunking crap they've said, they disappear. Let me see what else I got. I'm sure I haven't pissed off enough people yet. Stick with me. I got more time. What?
Short.
Am I really?
Not like me.
I don't really care. All right, so here's a good one. Boy, this up. You ready? I got one this morning. Said he hates women and held women back. So I did a little research. All right, you guys ready? Barbara, I love you. Johnny, you're really slacking as a fascist. You better delete my comments on last night's video. Oh, you know what? Good point. Let me tell you what, last night's video. I'm glad you said that. I'm going to leave that up there. Last night, I made a comment. I'm glad you said that because I was going to forget. I wanted to apologize to everybody. I made a comment about Dearborn or Flint, one of them saying that there are more mosques in Michigan than there are churches. Wrong. It's not true. I was wrong. Barbara, fortunately, pointed out. I didn't delete her comment. You know what I did with it? I pinned it. And I said, I'm sorry. I apologize. And I said, what I did in yesterday's video is the problem that we have here. Somebody hears something and they go, oh, it's true. I like it. And they go with it. I heard that in several different places. Several different places I heard that fact. I heard that claim. And because of where I heard it, I went, yeah, it's got to be true. It wasn't. Wasn't true. So I'm sorry for saying that. And I said in the comment, if you go look at it in yesterday's video, I apologize. I'm going to make a commitment to do more research before I shoot my mouth off. In keeping with that, let me give you some research, some examples of how Charlie Kirk didn't dump on women. This is going to really bother some people. Before I really upset people, he elevated women's voices, in my humble opinion. He was always having women, including his wife, on his show, engaging them as respectful as ever. You better be careful, Chris. I'm going to start hating on you next. Josh says, the problem is we allow 21-year-olds to have an opinion. Voting age should be 30 years of age. I don't want to hear anything from a person that can't even rent a car. It's interesting. I didn't know what I was doing until, about 3 or 4 years ago. I'm sort of kidding about that. Here's the problem. In schools, they don't reward you you know what they reward you for in school, especially lower education, like high school? They reward you for having a good memory, being able to regurgitate things you've been told. They don't reward you for thinking for yourself. They'll tell you what to think, but they won't tell you. They won't encourage you to think for yourself. Trust me on that. It's the truth. Jigsaw, been praying for you with your job, dude. Have you got a job yet? We're praying for you, dude. No joke. Look at this. Kristen says the man wrote letters to his wife asking her how he could serve her as her husband. Who's ever had that? It's a beautiful thing. All right, so he dumps on women, right? You ready? This is going to offend so many. Hi, Lilac Lime. Good to see you. Listen to this. I'm praying for it. I'm not going to stop, Jigsaw. Keep looking. I'm glad you're still here, Thunderbird. You know what? Hang tight. It's going to get ugly. All right, you ready for this? Charlie supported crisis pregnancy and pregnancy resource centers. Charlie Kirk publicly endorsed pregnancy resource centers as an alternative to abortion clinics, emphasizing that women who are pregnant should know that there are options if they do not want to choose an abortion. For instance, in Arizona, he praised Choices Pregnancy Centers, saying, every single woman who is pregnant in Arizona knows that there are options available that is not Planned Parenthood, that are not these abortion clinics. And Choices is doing a wonderful job, so we're going to support them in any way we possibly can. How about that? From me, my point of view as a Christian, and I'm a conservative, I'm socially probably a little bit more liberal than most people think. Like financially and borders and things like that, I'm wicked conservative. But support of pregnant women to carry pregnancies to term and helping them through with resources and care, it's a strong way to uphold the dignity of women and unborn life. They have every right to life as I do. Sorry. I'll give you a second point. Tell me how he hates women. He promoted traditional roles. Boys, are you ready? This is going to offend. He promoted traditional roles that emphasize family, marriage, and motherhood. Charlie often encouraged young women to prioritize marriage and having children rather than viewing career and professional success as the foremost goals and examples. He said, before you hate me, I don't care if you hate me, I really don't give a damn. He said, having children is more important than having a good career. And I would also tell young ladies, you can always go back to your career later, that there's a window where you can primarily should pursue marriage and having children. And that is a beautiful thing. You understand we have a wicked birth problem right now in this country? Do you guys know that? Here's the wicked thing about a birth problem. It's almost like a slow-moving catastrophe. It's already too late. Birth rates are down so bad in this country, and that's not something you correct like that. You know, if you're in a boat and you move the wheel, the boat goes like this. Right? When you steer a boat. If you're in a Lamborghini and you just turn the wheel, it cuts. Low birth rates, that's a slow moving boat. We're in trouble. And that's a problem that there's no easy answer for. At Turning Point USA Young Women's Leadership Summit, he urged attendees to live according to what he describes as a biblical model, which I believe. Relationships with men and as protectors and leaders, to maintain high moral standards, wait until marriage for sex. It's crazy, right? And make themselves presentable and attractive in ways consistent with those values. Creating good memories. Good to see you. Pepperhead, good to see you. Gornash says, be humble is important, but in this time and age, confessing that you're wrong is seen as weak or gives you a higher interest rate on your mortgage. Yeah, you know what, though? Listen, I don't have a mortgage. And when I say something that's wrong, I'm going to own it. My point, my take on this, Night Rider, good to see you. The messages, the points that I just gave you, they're viewed as honoring the biblical design for family and womanhood, valuing motherhood, purity, commitment to relationships, and what are considered God-ordained gender roles. I'll give you another one. And this is what Kristen alluded to earlier, elevating and mentoring female voices in conservative and Christian spaces. Charlie Kirk used his platform to elevate women in conservative media and leadership. A good example, according to Evie Magazine, Kirk hand-selected female conservative media figures early in their careers. For instance, Alex Clark, and supported their growth, rebrand, and prominence. The quote, you ready for this? For someone who was labeled a misogynist, who hates women, Charlie sure did spend a lot of his career elevating female voices, hosting conferences for young women, and supporting women's hopes and dreams. I'm not wrong. Cue ball, good to see you, man. Everything I just said, you're on the left, like real left. I don't mean a Democrat, but if you're really left, boy, everything I just said is like, how dare he? It's the truth.
Fascist.
Listen, huge advocate for free speech. Fascism is you guys, so many people call me a fascist. You don't know what the word means. You did. You called me that. Fascism is characterized by authoritarian government control, suppression of dissent, and restriction of free speech. In contrast, Charlie Kirk has consistently defended the First Amendment and constitutional liberty. You ready? We believe in free speech, even if we disagree with it. That's the American way. That's not fascism. That's freedom. And they shot him for that. Kirk's organization, Turning Point USA, frequently hosts campus events, specifically to promote debate and discussion. Have you seen them? Have you seen them? You need to. If you haven't, I just challenge you. You're going to learn something good. Even when controversial, often under the banner of campus clash or free speech matters, this fundamentally opposed the fascist ideology, which enforces a singular state-approved narrative. He opposed government overreach and centralized power, another thing that fascists love. Fascism thrives on centralized power, often merging state and corporate control. Kirk took a opposing stance on that. He constantly criticized big government. I heard some crazy quote. What percentage of the country are government employees? Is it? Are you sure of that before I say it? Hang on just for a second. He constantly criticized big government, advocating for limited government, federalism, and individual freedoms. The bigger the government gets, the more freedoms of yours they take away. Listen, all of history repeats itself. Yeah, right? Jackie says, you ever see the movie Snake Eyes from the 90s? It predicts the whole thing. I think that was just a tremendous coincidence. I do. But yeah, it's pretty bizarre. He opposed government mandates, mask, vaccine mandates, arguing they violate personal conscience and bodily autonomy, viewed aligned with both conservative Christian values and American constitutionalism. We don't want a government big enough to run your life. That's called tyranny, not liberty. Guess who said that?
Over 20%.
Charlie Kirk. Over 20% of the entire United States of America in the working class works for the government. If you don't think that's a problem, holy crap, that's a problem. In fascist regimes, the state dominates all spheres of life. You guys hear that? In fascist regimes, state dominates all spheres of life. Kirk advocated for decentralization, personal responsibility. He was huge about personal responsibility and private enterprise. Start a business, fall in love, get married, and have children. And all of that is everything I've just said is incompatible with fascism. So the next time remember, I'm not talking to you in the chat. I love you all, but you losers that are emailing me this, and if you're lurking now, that's absolutely the opposite of fascism. Get it together. Also, the support of traditional faith, family, and morality, not state worship. You guys hear me? Fascist regimes, historically that is, elevate the state or dictator as supreme, often suppressing religions, institutions, or subordinating them to state ideology. Kirk, by contrast, openly advocated for Christian values above politics. You know, I've been around. I used to be, hey, good to see you, Just Joan. I was a missionary. Toby Reveley, good to see you. I was a missionary in Russia on and off for 3 years. Made a bunch of trips over there. Communism was not a political party at all. It was a religion. We're going to take care of everything. Everything. Why do you need to pray? We got you. It's a religion. Truth. All right, so here we go. You ready to really get upset? Publicly stating that Jesus Christ is Lord and that his authority supersedes that of state. That's absolutely contradictory to anything fascist. Look at this. Ta-ta. I love this guy all of a sudden. Man, I'm glad you're here. I love you too. He didn't see color. He saw character. Isn't it shocking that what I'm saying is pissing people off? Blows me away. Defending the rights of churches to remain open during COVID lockdown, citing Hebrews 10:25, not forsaking the assembly of ourselves together, but exhorting one another. Here's a problem. When you use the Christ and the Bible as the yardstick for morality, anybody who doesn't believe is so offended. And what happens when you're offended? You think you're right. Opposing drag, oh boy, this is going to be good. He opposed drag shows for children, gender ideology in schools, and anti-Christian cultural norms, not because of state enforced morality, but to protect children and uphold biblical truth. The delete button, the unsubscribe button, is really easy to hit. If you don't like what I'm saying, you won't hurt my feelings. Charlie Kirk said, "I don't worship the state; I worship the living God." As do I. You think a fascist would say those things? A fascist would elevate the state to ultimate authority. A Christian conservative like Kirk points to God's laws. Here's the problem. Ryan, good to see you. Every single time Charlie debated about anything, I've only seen him raise his voice like 3 or 4 times. And usually it's get off my stage, that kind of thing. But every single time, where did he go? He went back to the Bible, back to his faith. And if you're not somebody with faith, that pisses you off. I don't care. About that. So, in summary, he wasn't a fascist. He promoted women, and college is a scam. Unless you're a doctor, lawyer in genetic studies or microbiology or stuff like that. Sorry. Political science major, have fun with that. That's a pretty good one. Look at this one. Barbara Wait. And Barbara, by the way, thank you for calling me on my what I said yesterday. That was inaccurate. I really appreciate that. When the government fears the people, there is liberty. When the people fear the government, there is tyranny. Yeah, I know, Jackie. I know that there's a lot of similarities. I don't believe that they were in on it. I think that was wicked coincidence. If you look back, there are a lot of movies that predicted crazy things. Can I tell you something? I wrote a screenplay when bin Laden was still alive. It was called Disavowed. Pretty cool screenplay. And dude was alive at that point. True story. He was alive. And I didn't know how to finish I didn't know how I was going to end the screenplay because I didn't have it figured out before I started. As I started, it kind of writes itself. That's how I write screenplays. And in the screenplay, I wrote where they found him. Do you want to know something? It was exactly where they found him. My dad was like, holy crap. You see that? It was exactly where I found him. Somebody with a brand, I shouldn't say that. I'm not sure how good a screenplay was. But if somebody bought that and made a movie out of it, they would have said, man, that scumbag was in on it. He predicted where they would have found him. True story, though. Q-Ball says Satan is going to continue revealing more of himself and his army of demons as we continue to see more people turning to Christ. He hates what's happening after the Charlie's assassination. In fact, what happened is it woke a lot of people that were going like, man, if I say something, well, a while back, a few days ago, 4 or 5 days ago, I said, if you've ever had to hold your tongue because of what your beliefs, be it about God or anything else, if you had to hold your tongue in your own home, at school, at work, whatever, if you had to hold your tongue at any point, put it 2 in the chat. Oh my God. Everybody's had to do that. So, and we did that. We did this. You know why we do that? Because we're scared of what? What it could cost us. What's it going to cost? I might get fired. I won't get a promotion. I'll get a divorce. What's it going to cost? That's why people keep their mouth shut. And then Charlie got martyred. And a whole lot of people said, well, screw that. I can't do it anymore. I did. I felt like such a coward for so long. There's a lot of Charlie Kirks out there. And listen, I almost feel guilty. I said, I'm Charlie Kirk. I'm nowhere near the man Charlie Kirk was. Nowhere near the man. But damn it, I want to be. I don't care who. And I'll be really honest. It's wicked easy to say this stuff in a country where everybody's happy. To this day, I was saying to Tommy today, since I've been there, I've not seen anybody angry, disappointed, upset, riled up about anything except Tommy and me. True story. The problem is Charlie Kirk was in high school and no one on the planet knew who he was when that movie came out. There you go. Thank you. Barbara says, no apology needed, Johnny. You sent me on a search for info, and that's awesome. You know what? Thank you. I'm glad you found it because I don't want to be spewing out stuff that I shouldn't be spewing out. True story. Heidi, you know what? I like Candace Owens. She wears her ovaries on the outside. She's got balls. She's not afraid to say that. Now, here, she's just like anyone. If you sit with this in front of you enough, you're going to say things that are wrong. It's just the way of the game. It's how it works. You can't sit back and wait till everything happens and then start talking. So she's talking about cutting edge stuff, and a lot of times she said things that I disagree with for sure. But I admire her chutzpah. She's got guts. Look at all the twos from people who had to hide crap. You see that all the twos? There are so many people. Look at that. Cohen says, "I'm done." Man, me too. Done. Take care, Dale. I'll listen to those songs. I appreciate it. Remember, Jesus loves us all. He does. Archie's mom says two. No more, though. The line in the sand couldn't be any clearer. What side are you going to choose? Your soul is at stake. I know which team I've chosen. Me too. Let me show you one thing. I'm going to end it on this. I'm going to show you something. Look at this. This was a resolution on the floor. All right. You guys reading this? The resolution was agreeing simply just to condemn Charlie Kirk's assassination, to honor his legacy, and to pay attention. Listen up. Denounce political violence. Well, look at that. 310 votes for it. 58 Democrats voted no for that. 38 voted present, which means I don't have the balls to say no, so I'll just say I'm present. You know what that means? Here's the thing. If you aren't voting for something, I got a news flash for you. You're voting against it. So sorry if this offends you. If you are a Democrat and you're listening to me right now, your party, a bunch of them, voted for political violence by not voting. Here's the thing. It wasn't like there was pork belly, all kinds of things in there that they were going. This was a symbolic resolution. It was symbolic. Do you understand how screwed up that is? So next time you go to vote, think about it. That's who you're voting for. People that, there's a study done that said that 20% of people say it's okay for political violence. That means if you don't like what I say, 20% think it's okay to take me out, shoot me on my balcony because of something I said. A lot of what I've said tonight. And you say to yourself, well, 20%. Get in a room with 5 people. One of them thinks it's okay to kill you if they don't like what you said. Think about that. All right. Mike Chiliesmo, good to see you, dude. All right. I'm sure I pissed a lot of people off. I don't really care. If it bothered you so much, you can unsubscribe. Is it? Okay. That's cheating. Let me just give you the numbers in the last week. You guys want to hear something funny? I'll show you even. How about that? Because I'm that guy. Subscribers lost. You guys see that? 447. Now, it's easy not to worry about subscribers when you've got, there's going to be 2, Barella, there's going to be 2 1 hot minutes this week. 2 of them. If it's easy to not give a damn about subscribers when you got a silver play button on the wall. I don't even put it on the wall. It's in my room, though. I didn't do this to get subscribers. I didn't do this to get likes. I didn't do this for views, although we do have 32 million of them, and that's all you guys. Even the ones that hate me. They're my biggest fans. They never miss a video. They'll watch this one twice. But I don't care. If I woke up tomorrow, how many subscribers you need to have to remain monetized? Anybody tell me? There's a lot of YouTubers probably in the chat. Damien says, peppers are politics. I support you. Love you, dude. Appreciate you saying that. All you need is 1,000. I give you my word. I swear I'm not lying. If I woke up this morning at 149 and you bailed on me, I go, got the right ones. Jeremy Dyer, good to see you. I got the right ones. I don't give a rip about subscribers. Thank you, Christian, nailing that with 1,000. Look at that. I don't care. I'm not doing this. I never did this for subscribers. And you know what? Being here, you don't hear gunshots here. So I'm not too worried about someone coming to take me out. If they ever got in this house, it would be the worst decision they ever made. If Tommy got to him first, it would be horrific. If we got to him at the same time, I'm not worried. I fear not. Anyway, I'm done. I love you guys. Please do me a favor if you can. I think Kristen, being the amazing mod that she is. There, Tommy, the love boat. By the way, you are on the love train. That's what this is. There's no hate here. I know it's not funny. You're on the love train. Listen, you know what? The only ones who hate me is they don't like what I'm saying. And if you're offended, it doesn't make you right. If nothing, from Barbara, what Barbara said, and I own it. If I'm wrong, I'll own it. I'm not scared of that. I'm not. But boy, when I'm right, you hear her?
Mhm.
That's Squirrel. All right, guys, I'm done. Be kind. Please join my brother 5 after. You think I'm pissed off? Wait till you hear him. I'm Johnny Scoville. This was Chase the Heat.